Hello, boys and girls. I've missed you all so much. I hope you're having fun when you're at home or grandma's house or at daycare. I am at school right now, but today is my very last day at school until you guys come back. Mrs. Brown wants everyone to stay home and stay healthy and spend time with their family and friends. Today, I would like to read you a story, a super special story. I want you to think back. Every day when we do calendar, during morning meeting, we have counted down how many more days until spring. Well, guess what? Today is the very first day of spring. That's so exciting. And it's such a nice day outside. It's so warm. I can't wait to go play outside. After you're done watching this video, and after I've read you a super cool story, I want you to go outside and enjoy the warm weather today. I picked out this story that I thought you all would love. Are you ready to see what it is? It's a book about Fletcher. Do you remember we've read stories about this little fox before? We read one when it was the beginning of fall, and Fletcher found his favorite tree, but then he saw all the leaves falling off of it, and he was really worried because he's just a baby. He doesn't know about seasons like you and I do. This book is called Fletcher and the Springtime Blossoms. I wonder if Fletcher is worried. I wonder if he knows what spring is. Maybe he still wants winter. Let's read and find out. We know sometimes if we read the back of the book or inside of the front cover, it tells us a little bit about what the book may be about. So let's read and see what we think the book might be about. Fletcher loves everything about spring. Listening to the birds sing, smelling just open flowers, and playing chase with butterflies. But then Fletcher sees something that he never expected to see in the spring. Snow! Oh no! But it turns out that spring has another surprise in store for Fletcher, a warm and wondrous one. Jump into spring with Fletcher and his friends. Ooh, so it seems like Fletcher is excited about spring. But then, even when it's spring, we know that it can still snow. But Fletcher doesn't know that. So Fletcher sees it snowing, and he gets really worried. Let's see what he does. Fletcher and the Springtime Blossoms. The words in this book were written by Julia Rawlinson, and the pictures were drawn by Tiffany Beek. And I love the pictures in this story. I think Tiffany Beek painted these pictures. The woods were full of chirping, sing-songing sounds of spring. Fletcher bounded along with his nose in the air, sniffing the just burst buds of flowers and playing chase with the butterflies. Do you see him playing chase? See if you can smell. Does it smell any different outside? With his head spinning with sights and sounds, he tumbled happily down the hill into a sunny orchard. But when he picked himself up from the ground, Fletcher couldn't believe his eyes. What did he see? A soft breeze danced through the branches, carrying snowflakes. Snow so late in spring? Fletcher thought. It will be too cold for the buds and butterflies. There's no time to lose. Oh, so he's getting really worried. We know in winter, it can still be really warm outside. And when it's spring, it can still snow some. But Fletcher, he's worried. He doesn't know about seasons like we do. He looked for someone to tell. He trotted back up the hill and past a pair of birds cuckooing on a branch. There's those birds. You've flown to your summer home too soon, Fletcher cried. I've been down to the orchard and there's snow on the way. Then we should fly back south, said the birds. But first, we need to tell Porcupine. He came out of his bed of leaves. He needs to snuggle back down or he'll freeze. We learned about what animals do in the winter. These birds fly south for the winter so they don't get cold. And this porcupine buries himself under lots of leaves to stay warm. Fletcher and the birds found Porcupine stretching and scratching. "There's snow on the way," said Fletcher. "I saw it in the orchard. It will be too cold for the butterflies. The birds need to fly south, and you need to get back in your den." "Then I should crawl back in my bed," snuffled the porcupine. He was sad. "But first, we need to tell Squirrel that he needs to hunt for more food. He ate all of his winter nuts. He'll need to find some more." We know that squirrels and other animals gather food for the winter so they can eat it, because when there's snow on the ground, they can't go out and search for their food, for nuts or for berries. So they need to find it before. Fletcher, the birds, and the porcupine found Squirrel scampering along. "Snow is blowing in from the orchard," said Fletcher. "It's too cold for the butterflies. The birds will need to fly south. Poor Porcupine needs to go back into his bed, and you need to go find some more food." "You're right. I ate all of my winter food," said Squirrel, "and all of my nuts are gone." "But before I hunt for some more nuts, we need to tell Rabbit to munch as much grass as she can before the snow falls." Fletcher and the birds, Porcupine, and Squirrel hurried off again. Who are they going to find? Oh yeah, the rabbit. The rabbits were rolling down the hill next to their burrow. "Stop playing," said Fletcher. "There's snow blowing in from the orchard. It's too cold for the butterflies. The birds will need to fly south, and poor Porcupine needs to go back to bed. Squirrel needs to find food, and you guys need to munch more grass." "But before we eat," said the rabbits. What are they going to do? "Let's go play in the snow." So the rabbits hopped down the hill through the woods. They were chased by Squirrel, Porcupine, the birds, and a bouncing, full of importance fox all the way to the orchard, where the ground was white with, what was it white with? Snow! "What? That's not snow," said the fox. "It's blossoms. Blossoms bobbing in the branches, blossoms blowing in the breeze, blossoms blanketing the ground, and not a snowflake anywhere." "Those are blossoms, not snow, you silly fox," the animals cried. Fletcher blinked and rubbed his eyes. He felt very silly. Why did he feel silly? These are blossoms. It's flowers, the flowers that are growing in the spring. The wind must be blowing here in the book, and the flowers are blowing everywhere. And when Fletcher first looked at it, he thought those white flowers were snow. But it's not. It's just flowers. But then the animals scooped up pawfuls and clawfuls of blossoms from the ground, and they covered him in a tickly shower of fluttering white pearls. Fletcher and his friends ran and they played between the trees until at last they all collapsed in a blossomy, soft, white pile. Can you think about doing that? Close your eyes. Think about it being so warm outside and there's flower petals everywhere, and you and your friends or you and your brother and sister are playing in those blossoms. That sounds like so much fun. Then the birds fluttered back to their branch with beakfuls of blossoms to line their nest. See, they're putting the white flowers, the blossoms, in the nest. Porcupine snuffled up the slope, his quills dotted with tiny white petals. His quills are those little pokey things that porcupines have on their backs. Their spines. All the little white blossoms are stuck in those. Squirrel went chasing up and down the trees after snow-white petals dancing in the breeze. So he's just chasing those petals up and down the tree. And the rabbits bounced back up the hill with blossoms to brighten their burrow. So they were taking the white flower petals to their hole in the ground. But Fletcher just laid, smiling in his soft bed of petals, watching the blossoming branches bobbing overhead. Do you see him right there? It's kind of hard to see. He's laying right there in a big pile of petals, just looking up at the trees. And if I can, it's hard to see in the video, but the flowers and the trees are sparkling. The end. That was such a good book. Did you guys like that? Maybe we can read it again when we all come back to school and we can talk about things that we like to do in the spring. I have a challenge for you. Are you ready? Okay, I want you to turn off this video and I want you to run outside as fast as you can and see if you can find some blossoms or some petals. If you would like, your moms and dads and nanas can take pictures of you and send them to me. And I'll look at them and we can share them with everyone else to let them know what you're doing on the first day of spring. I will be reading more stories to you in the next couple of days. I have some super cool stories picked out that you guys like and some new ones that we've never even read before. Okay? I will talk to you later. Have a wonderful day. I want you to know how special you are and how much I care for you. I'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.